But now if you look at mainly the job requirements, and everyone requires a significant level of German.
What kind of challenges do students face when learning the language?
Sometimes students come with a very preconceived thing that
I think it's possible to learn a language in 6 months of time or 1 year of time.
let's say when it comes to learning a language, it also depends on how much.
If you have to give one advice, what would it be?
I would say just come with.
Hi Shreema, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me on the podcast.
Yeah, it's our pleasure to have you here. And also, I think this is one of the most important episodes that I am going to have on this series, because when someone comes to Germany, learning German, according to me, is one of the very most important thing that everyone has to do.
Correct.
And we will get into this part of it. But before that, how was your journey like from coming to India to Germany? So maybe it would be really helpful to get a little bit of background about you. Where do you come from? How did you land in Germany?
So basically, I always say, like German was never really a part of the plan.
Mhm.
So I technically started my German language journey in college
Mhm.
when I was supposed to go for IT as a second language in college, for example. But I would say today, definitely, fortunately, I lost IT by 1 mark,
Mhm.
and that is how I ended up taking German. And I think I could say, like, over the 2 years, high school, 11th and 12th grade, I fell in love with the language.
Mhm.
And that's how I continued studying in India, not even knowing that, okay, I would be in Germany someday. But yes, then it was like, okay, maybe I wanted to go into teaching or translation or interpretation.
Mhm.
And yeah, then it's like going ahead with courses of diploma, advanced diploma, and then going ahead with B2 C1. That is how it went ahead with the whole language. And my teaching journey did start in India itself. So I have been teaching since 2018, and now I've been in Germany since 2022,
Mhm.
2021.
Mhm.
And now, yeah, over here, registered as well,
Mhm.
have my own online thing.
Mhm.
So it feels nice to help people, especially coming to Germany. It's a very different perspective than what we learn in India.
Mhm.
Like in India, you learn, very basic things, like very specific related to, maybe it's like as a foreign language.
Mhm.
Here, it's more that, it's a necessity, or like what I observed after coming here was that spoken German is much different than actually what you learn from books.
Okay. So what started as a passion for
Right.
learning language has ended up as a professional
Profession. Correct.
career for you. It's nice because usually we as students, when we learn, have a fully different perspective on the language, and as teachers, it's a different perspective. So
Correct.
I think this episode is going to help a lot of us who are going to watch this video and who also want to learn this language.
Yeah.
One of the most important things that all of us would be happy to know is like, is really German language important when someone comes here as an expat?
So in that case, I would say, if we look at how it was maybe 8 to 10 years ago, it wasn't that important. If you look at the job
Mhm.
markets, or from a job perspective, it was still easier
Mhm.
to get by with English.
Mhm.
But now if you look at mainly the job requirements, and everyone requires a significant level of German. Right
Mhm.
now, when it comes to levels, it's not only whether it's like a B1 or B2, but mainly that you should be able to speak.
Mhm.
Even when it comes to surviving locally, you have that confidence that, okay, if I know the language, I am going to be able to do everything. So there are no obstacles that you come across if you know the language. So life, I would say, definitely becomes easier, much
Okay.
more.
You say that German language is very important in integrating into German society. One of the important thing that most of us as students when learning German language get to hear is that German is really a hard language to learn. Do you think it's true, or what is your opinion on this?
Mm, so again, when it comes to any language,
Mhm.
I would say it's a perspective how people, look at it.
Mhm.
So let's say we compare German with English,
Mhm.
then maybe, yeah, we could say that, the grammar is a little bit harder
Mhm.
because it's being compared to English.
Mhm.
But let's say you compare it with any other language, saying, Mandarin, like Chinese or Japanese, which
Mhm.
has a completely different script, then German is
Mhm.
definitely easier, right? So when you look at it with that perspective, then it becomes more of easy or difficult.
Mhm.
But otherwise, I mean, it's just any language is going to take time
Mhm.
to be learned, to get fluent with it. So I won't really, define it as difficult or easy
Mhm.
in terms of that. Yeah.
But what kind of challenges do students face when learning the language? What have you seen in the students?
So I think that, sometimes students come with a very preconceived thing,
Mhm.
that, they hear it from somewhere, or there are people telling them that, okay, grammar is something, or
Mhm.
we might have heard, right, these accusative, dative, and that is what
Mhm.
everyone's so obsessed about. But I think the language is not only about grammar, right? Like, yes, grammar is important, but it's not everything in the language. So I think that is where the students are stuck on that. Okay, if we don't know accusative, if we don't understand dative, then we are not going to be able to do the language.
Okay, so according to you, when as a student, I think everyone gets to listen opinion from other students usually, and not from teachers
Yeah.
at the starting point.
Yeah.
So, how should ideally a student face this challenge?
So I would say, like, just before starting your journey, just come in with the mindset of just learning a language
Mhm.
without having to, translate it from any other language, or, trying to find logic in each and every minute thing.
Mhm.
Like, let's say now, for example, our mother tongues
Mhm.
that we grew up with, like, right, we say, now I ask you something and you'll be like, okay, I don't know this, why?
Mhm.
It's just like that, because that is how I heard it growing up. So even there are certain things when it comes to German which you just have to remember. There is no logic to that.
Mhm.
So that is, I think, what I feel, that students should come with that mindset of, okay, this is a language I'm going to learn, without translating it from English, or without having to translate it into any other language.
Yeah, initially when I started learning German, this was also a challenge that, and teacher always used to say that never translate it from one to another.
Correct.
Now I understand it why.
Yeah.
But another thing that my teacher always told me is that you don't stop learning a language. At some point, if there is a good continuity, you will be able to speak fluently.
Correct.
And personally, what I felt is it takes around like 3 to 4 years to be fluent in a language.
Yeah.
If you study it for enough amount of time, and
Yeah.
also have native speakers in and around you, or fluent speakers in and around you. But also, I know my friends, colleagues sometimes who say, okay, I want it quicker, I don't have enough time, and there are not many people who believe in this process and say, okay, I want the certificate. Do you think it's possible to learn a language in 6 months of time or 1 year of time? What is your general opinion on this?
Mm, so again, I would say nothing is impossible.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's say when it comes to learning a language, it also depends on how much effort you are putting into it as a student.
Mm-hmm.
It could also be that, okay, say your grasping powers is really
Mm-hmm.
fast, so you can maybe pick certain things up at a pace in 6 months, whereas another person can take a year for that.
Mm-hmm.
So that is completely, I think, something very personal as to how much, again, time you're giving to it, how much, you're trying to surround yourself with people who talk, or how much you listen to the language.
Mm-hmm.
That is what I think is decides the time frame.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when it comes to whether I can learn a language in 6 months, I can definitely start with it.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, to get fluent, I always say it is going to be a process.
Mm-hmm.
There are no shortcuts to it. Let's say 6 months of a time is again a very um, personal opinion or personal perspective. But I always say now, for example, today I started learning in 2016
Mm-hmm.
when took it as a second language, and I still say that I'm still learning.
Mm-hmm.
For me, even as a teacher, people are like, oh, so you might know everything, and I'm like, it's a language, you can never know everything. I've even seen native speakers who still don't know a lot of things. Maybe when it comes to dialects, or people from the north also find the south dialect a little difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like we have a concept, we call it as lebenslanges Lernen, which is like, till the day you die, you're going to keep learning the language.
Yeah. One of the things that you said, like, even if I pass a C1 exam,
Yeah,
the learning never stops.
absolutely.
I was recently doing my driving license, and then the teacher told me, okay, this is for you to pass the exam, but that does not mean now you know everything or have seen everything. The more you drive, the more different circumstances you encounter, and then you learn, right?
Correct.
So this is something sometimes difficult to understand, and we sometimes think, okay, I have B1, now I am fluent to speak in a professional setup. No,
Yeah.
it does not work sometimes that way.
Correct.
But yeah, having belief is important.
Correct.
Yeah.
I would say, just trust the process, just give it time. There are definitely no shortcuts to it.
Yeah. And another important thing, when I personally came to Germany and started working here, I found out that we learn Hochdeutsch all the
Yeah.
time. However, people here, most of them do not ever speak Hochdeutsch in a setup wherein there are only Germans.
Yeah.
So, like, irrespective of how much we learn, it again needs some time to get used to other dialects and understand them. So,
Correct.
It's never going to be like easy. Even if someone learns C1 in India and then come here, it will take again some time to adjust. So, uh, overall, what do you think, like, students right at the start, whoever is watching this video probably want to come to Germany, or professionals who come to Germany or are in Germany and want to start learning this language, what would your advice be for them?
So I would say, if you are coming to Germany for the first time, or if you are a student, nowadays students are also facing difficulties, because they don't have any language knowledge, any prior knowledge of German. They are facing, even problems to get student jobs, or basically even to, speak with the locals. Like, you want to ask for a basic direction, right? The only thing that I see is students buy out this one sentence saying "Sprechen Sie English," right? That's just so, I mean, heartbreaking to see that. Why not? Like, even say, now let's go with levels, for example. So now it's always really good to start with Hochdeutsch, because that is something that is going to act as a base. Dialect is something, yes. Let's say you move to Bayern, that's a different dialect. You move to Nordrhein-Westfalen, that's a different dialect. So, but when you have a base of Hochdeutsch, what we call a standard German, you get used to the dialect, right? Again, when you live in that atmosphere, when you listen to that dialect every day, you are going to pick it up in a month or two. So, but having the base of Hochdeutsch is very important, especially when it comes to, say, business German. Tomorrow, after you're done with a B1 and B2, and you wish to, write emails in a corporate atmosphere, that is where Hochdeutsch is going to come into picture. Because as a corporate Sprache or a language, it's always Hochdeutsch that we generally go for.
Yeah. Is it always usual that in corporate conditions it's always Hochdeutsch?
Mostly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that we have set a foundation wherein we know, like, how important it is to know German, what is your teaching style like? So how do you define it?
So I would say, I do follow a pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Like we do have a book where we have syllabus,
Mm-hmm.
like, because it's like you have these levels, right? So you
Mm-hmm.
also have to go to a fixed thing according to a fixed
Mm-hmm.
thing. So we have a book where you have certain topics, but we make sure that we do much more than only the book,
Mm-hmm.
because this is a language.
Mm-hmm.
This is not something where I'm only concerned that okay, you want to go for the exam, get
Mm-hmm.
the certificate, that's it. No, what's the use of learning the language if you can't speak it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we go with the grammar, we go with all the modules of reading, writing, listening, speaking,
Mm-hmm.
and grammar, so as an overall foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Now a lot of people come to me and say, like, no, I don't want the grammar, I only want to start
Mm-hmm.
speaking. And like, grammar is the foundation of any language.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that yes, grammar is not as much as important as we are obsessed about it, but it is important as to when it comes to the basic sentence structure.
Mm-hmm.
Grammar is important.
Mm-hmm.
So I think at least knowing a base of grammar from A1 to B1 is necessary in order to have that fluency, in order to have that confidence
Mm-hmm.
to even speak.
Okay. So you usually then follow the format of these exams of either Goethe or TELC,
Telk,
and
correct,
then okay, based on it.
correct.
Do you also refer to any other material from online for the students, or how do students ideally learn? Should they only study from the books, or is it advisable also to watch movies, listen to songs? How?
Yeah, so like I mentioned already, that a language is all about listening.
Mm-hmm.
Unless and until you actually surround yourself with it, listen to it
Mm-hmm.
more and more, you're not going to be able to actually understand. Or yeah, let's say for example, now in class we do a dialogue,
Mm-hmm.
okay, like you practice a dialogue of ordering in a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
Unless and until you go to 10 restaurants and actually practice it, you're not going to get that confidence,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or you maybe watch a movie which has a dialogue from a restaurant, you're not really going to understand how it's used in real life.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the difference. Like, even from movies you get to know a lot of spoken German, which is not there in books. And it's not always possible to because classes we have a fixed time frame, levels we have a fixed time
Mm-hmm.
frame. So it's like it becomes hard to cover everything. And because say students are also from different states, so there's
Mm-hmm.
someone from Berlin, there's someone from Stuttgart, there's someone from Hamburg. So now it becomes really difficult to, okay, I can't cover each of the dialect from
Mm-hmm.
Hamburg, Stuttgart, and this. So that's why then we have to stick to a pattern, but we try to incorporate as much as possible, as much as spoken German as possible.
Do you mean to say then, like, usually as a student it's advisable to learn what is there in the course, how it is structured,
Plus,
plus most of the main thing is self driven, so like one has to put effort in using what has been learned.
correct,
Yeah.
correct. So I myself, we send a lot of videos on
Mm-hmm.
the WhatsApp groups of our students. So apart from classes, I tell them that every day take out 15 to 20 minutes to watch something. Even if you don't understand, it's absolutely okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because some people get demotivated just by the fact that okay, you play a video and I'm not able to understand. That's okay, that's absolutely normal. Let's say as a child, when you're learning your mother tongue, you still don't understand half the things. Still your mother played it right for you. So that is exactly how it is. Unless and until you keep that determination of listening to it, say, continuously for the next 2 to 4 months,
Mm-hmm.
I can guarantee that you will start understanding definitely more after 4 months.
Yeah. Since you also taught in India and now you are teaching in Germany, do you also see some sort of difference in the way German language is taught in India versus German language is taught here by native Germans here in Germany?
Yeah, so like I said, I finished my C1 from
Correct.
Goethe even in India. And because I also wanted to know how the teaching methods are over here, I also ended up doing one more C1 course
Mm-hmm.
from a VHS.
Mm-hmm.
and then I also appeared for the C1 Telc. So I would say it's pretty similar when it comes to the teaching methods, but the way students learn it is very different. So here it's more of a spoken approach that they concentrate on rather than writing. Whereas in India we were focused more on writing, grammar, because in India I think the intention is to get a language certificate. Because you don't have anyone to talk to, right? You
Correct.
know that okay, there's no local native who I have to actually interact with.
Yeah.
So I think the teaching methods are similar, but the approach taken by students is different.
Yeah, this was also one of the main things for me. I studied until B2.1, even before coming to Germany. However, I could not speak a single sentence because the focus was never much on that. Even if the teacher told us, okay, you have to speak more, we said it doesn't feel natural because all are other native speakers of Indian languages, and then it's easy, right?
Correct.
Like so there was never a push. But then once I came here to Germany, I was always surrounded by Germans, and that's when it started to come a little natural, and it didn't feel weird.
Correct.
Right? And yeah, I think like at the end of the day, being here in Germany helps a lot in learning this language. Because the focus and all the people around us are also more or less
correct.
Germans.
Right? Like you go out and you see all the signs in German. You see all the, when you're driving, for example, you see all the rules or
Correct.
whatever, those are in German. So it's just a matter of that, I have to grasp that. I have to, okay, I've seen this, I have to remember that. A lot of times what happens is people are just ignorant. Even if they see it, they will not remember. But a lot of people, now there was an example which I could give you. One of my students, earlier, before she did A1 and A2 with me, she didn't really understand even when she went out. Like basic signs were also hard, she always had to translate. And then even in A1, when we did like a basic concept of negative kein or nicht, after that she sent me a picture that said kein Trinkwasser, which means that okay, this is not drinking water. And then she's like, okay, now I understood why this is not drinking water and what is actually written. So seeing the happiness on their faces that they actually even understand these small things, that really makes me happy.
Yeah, what I personally feel is when we learn German language and staying here in Germany, it helps a lot. What I feel personally is that I never feel much as a foreigner anymore, only because of the fact that I am able to understand German language, what others are speaking, and I'm also able to speak spontaneously.
Correct.
Do you also think like it's very important to learn in order to feel that you also belong to this place?
Absolutely. I mean, 100%. Like, I think, when I came here for the first time, even despite having a C1, despite being like teaching in India for a long time, I did struggle with the dialect initially for, 2 to 4 months. Because some regions of Germany or, even Switzerland, if you say, they have a really, really heavy dialect. So it's hard. But again, give it 2 to 4 months, listen to that every day, just listen to what your neighbors have to say, or everyone, just go to the supermarket, maybe listen to someone what they are trying to say, and you actually get used to it. So now it's like you can go on for hours and hours with anyone local. You don't have to, there's no fear anymore that oh, I don't know this language, how am I gonna. And then sometimes it's like people start first thinking of what question I have to ask in the mind, and then they'll go and ask, and then okay, they've said something and now I don't know what to say back, right? So I think that is somewhere where the language is very, very important in order to feel at home, feel at like actually integrate with the locals.
At the end of all of this, it boils down to the amount of effort that one is ready to put.
Correct.
Right? With this also, one of the major challenge of learning language is that students and professionals, both of them always have this time constraint.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with this? Like what are the challenges that students face who are already in Germany and want to learn language, and professionals who are probably here in Germany since a long time and now for whatever reason they want to learn language. How should they ideally look at learning a language and with the timelines?
So I would say, it might require a bit of planning, especially say when it comes to students. So someone who's planning to come to Germany already, they know that, okay, how, because of social media now, they know how important the language is. So I would say, at least learn something before coming here, because a lot of times people do have these, thoughts that, okay, maybe I'll just go there and then I'll start learning. But, after coming here, they actually understand the reality. Like, oh, I don't even know one sentence of German, and even to get a train ticket or ask someone, it's becoming difficult.
Correct.
So especially for students, I would say that, learn at least 2 to 3 levels before coming here, and then your journey would definitely become easier in order to, go with the next levels. When it comes to working professionals, I think I completely understand that, they are occupied with their work, and then learning German feels, an extra burden in life. But I think, again, if you want to stay here long term, and that's why, like, start right now, right? Like, don't think, okay, maybe I'll do this when I have time. That time will never come. Just start right now. Maybe give it time later. If, some people come to me and they're like, oh, I'm on a time crunch and I want to finish, 3 levels in 4 months and 5 months, and I'm like, you know I can finish 3 levels by my side. But are you going to really understand? Right? I can make you sit for 4 hours and, bombard you with everything I know, and but are you going to be able to grasp that? Are you going to be able to, remember all of that and apply it? So I would say, take time, one sentence at a time. Try applying it. Try using whatever you've learned. Record things, watch things with German subtitles. Like I always say, nowadays there are these English or Hindi movies coming out with German subtitles, right?
Yeah.
So watch something that you already have watched in English, maybe with German subtitles. That will also help you to relate. Right? You will get to know a lot of new words, saying, oh, this scene, this was the dialogue. Now I got to know the German word for that. So that is what is, what I call it a process. Like, it is going to take time. So start literally right away. Don't wait for the time when you actually need it. So,
yeah, what I totally agree with what you say, but what I also find is that many of the students don't know where to start, and sometimes they think it's too much of a money when they want to learn from institutes or from teachers like you, and they start with something that is available online in YouTube, or think they can learn it from Duolingo. Do you think it has the same effect, or do you always suggest students to learn it from a professional teacher?
Again, when it comes to, learning, each person is different. Like how each person learns. Like, there are some people who learn in a more structured way. Like, some people will come to me and say, okay, I want to start with A1 and go in a structured way, and ultimately they do that because for them it's more important that I have someone to rely on.
Okay.
Whereas, let's say if you want to try learning with these apps or, other YouTube videos, which are maybe a little scattered, not very organized, not very structured, I would say you require that determination. You require, that discipline of sitting every day and, making sure that you're doing that. So if people have that, I think there's not really a problem of going ahead even with these apps or, non-structured kind of ways of learning. But I think a lot of people, they want more that, I want a live person who would correct me, who would, like, especially when it comes to writing, speaking, whether I'm doing it right or not.
Yeah, also learning from a teacher would reduce a lot of mistakes, I think.
Correct.
Because when we start, we would not know what is the best way to learn.
Correct.
it, right? Even if there is enough content online,
Correct.
it's not always easy to structure it in the right manner.
Correct. It's also very exhausting, right? Like when you look at some videos, you look at 4 different videos, there are 4 different tips, and then you don't know what to follow.
Correct.
So, whereas then if you go with one person from start to finish, it's more like, it's more of a structured way, like I said.
One of the difficult thing that I felt personally is that learning German is okay, but sometimes it's very difficult to speak with others because we always think what will native Germans think about. So how to overcome this challenge as a German language student?
So, see, basically, initially, you are going to make mistakes, right? Say today, even when we speak English, it's more or less people are still making mistakes. That doesn't mean that you don't know the language, right? So, same goes with German. Like, say, again, people are so obsessed with these articles, right? Der, die, das.
Correct.
And it doesn't matter, like, yes, it's important again because it's a part of grammar, it's a part of structure. But if you say das instead of dem, or die instead of der, it's not that people are not going to understand. So the main factor is, I think, just speak without that fear. And like, these are again some tips where it's like, you ask people to be a little slower if you're not really used to the speed or the accent. You ask them to repeat it thrice or 4 times. I think they are very cooperative that way. I've never really faced any kind of problem, especially when, say, it's a phone call. Sometimes you are not able to hear what the person on the other side is actually saying. You actually very politely say, okay, can you please repeat? Können Sie bitte wiederholen? And they do repeat even twice, thrice. So I think it's just, like I mentioned earlier, like practicing and, trying to not think how people would judge you.
Yeah. In my 4.5 years experience, I never remember a German saying that what you are speaking is wrong. Or
Correct.
They never care. As long as they understand what we are trying to imply, right, they are very, very happy or more than happy because we are trying to learn the language, right?
Correct.
So, yeah, I think finally we have to take that initial step and get out of that fear. Yeah, that's nice. Also, like when I came here, I had some certain cultural shocks, or let's say very different experience. So with respect to the culture here, did you also encounter some of these, or what was very different in comparison to India?
Yeah, I mean, I think two of the biggest things, I mean, I knew that definitely because we also learn it when learning the language. But to actually see it happening in reality, that was one, I would say, is, in India, like blowing your nose at a table full of people, that's considered to be rude. Whereas in Germany, it's considered absolutely normal. Like, that's a very natural thing, right? So people are just blowing a nose at, you're just eating like a table full of 20 people and someone just blowing their nose and no one really looks at you. So maybe, the first or second time that I came across that, it was a little maybe awkward that, okay, people actually do it. I had only read it in books, but here people actually do that. Second, I would say punctuality is really, really valued over here. Like, if you give someone a time of, okay, I'm going to come at 11 o'clock. Even if you are coming at 11:05, you have to make sure that you inform them beforehand. So 11 is taken as 11. It's not even 11:05 or 11:10. Whereas in India, it used to be, okay, 11, so it's going to be 11:30 or 12. So I think these were the major differences that I felt, but I think I really like the way how open it is over here, and people value time, which is something I really liked about.
One of the things that I felt that is different is people take Dutzen and Sitzen very seriously here.
Yeah.
This is something that I did not know.
Yeah.
For all the viewers, it means, how do you call a person? Dutzen is more of
informal,
and when you meet people who are new, then you have to address them formally.
Yeah.
So, and it's also a challenge, right? Like, this was a big challenge for me, that I know German, but I do not know to conjugate every time with do or the see. See, it's very easy to use.
Correct.
As a language learning student, but do did not come naturally.
Correct.
So, do you also encounter students who have similar problems, or what is your overall opinion?
Yeah, so I think, this is something that is covered in the very basic level of A1. So that, whole of A1, you do go through, keep going through conjugations itself, get used to the pronouns of do, ze, or, third person things like he, she, it. And that is where, you build that confidence. So, but I think, even when it comes to do or z, there are not really any written down rules.
Correct.
As to, like, sometimes I have even seen it's more like, you just go with the flow. Just see what the other person is, starting with, and you can just, go with the flow. Like, a lot of times I've seen, in offices, people just go with a do.
Yeah.
Like, okay, even if you're new in office, like it's your first day of work, and the colleagues will come and be like, hey, okay, was magst du, or like, they are very casual, and then you're like, okay, this is the atmosphere that is followed here, this is the culture that is followed here in this office. So then I think, it's okay for you even to go with do. But let's say you're maybe there's some lady on the road that you meet, and she wants help with something, then I think in there it's more of a stranger, so it's easier to start with a z. So I think, yeah, there are no written down rules, but it's more like with, again, and as much as you come across people that you get to know.
Yeah, in India, like when we see elders, usually we use sort of sits and in our native
Correct.
languages.
Correct.
However, one of the interesting thing that I found is, since I work in university, I saw that professors using formal words for the students.
Yeah.
Because this is a formal setup, and it's not like informal wherein you can use duts. And so, like,
Correct.
even if the professor is 40 years older than the
Yeah.
student, they
Yeah.
use sits. And so, like, this was for me really interesting and
Correct.
new.
Correct.
Yeah.
So here it's more, it doesn't really depend completely on age, but like you said, the setup is more important. So if it's a, like a professional seminar, or like you said, at the university, it's more of a formal setup, formal atmosphere. So people go with Z or Zitzen. But, in colleagues or friends, or, in school, when children talk to each other, or if it's friends or someone, even sometimes in some offices, even bosses and employees have the whole do culture. So that completely depends on, what setup you are actually in.
Yeah, I think we can keep on speaking about different experiences, and it is never going to end. Yeah, it's a different world in comparison to India.
Yeah.
And it's also nice to know the language, so that we get these kind of subtle things that happen in and around us. So with this being said, we are more or less at the end of this session. However, I have some rapid fire questions for you before we end this podcast. Which is one word that you find very hard to pronounce yet?
Anything hard as such, but I think there are some sounds which people find really hard, like we have Eichhörnchen, or we have these sh sounds, right? Like a lot of times the word ish is not really, a lot of people say ish, but it's not the sh, but the sh sound.
Yeah.
So I think that's something which needs a years of practice to excel in.
And which is one word that you can say that is your favorite German word?
Favorite German word?
Which comes automatically to you when you think of?
I think this I remember because of my sister. We have the word Schadenfreude, which means that you get happiness when something bad happens to others. And I think this word is used in a lot of scientific terms, or not scientific, I would say, in, I think, other languages as well.
Yes.
So I think that's where you remember it even without learning German as such.
Which is one German phrase that most of the students or learners use it too much?
Ich weiß nicht.
That means I know.
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah. One sentence that every expat should know.
One sentence that they do know is sprechen Sie English.
Mm-hmm.
But I think one thing that they should know is more like ich lerne noch Deutsch.
Mm-hmm.
I am still learning German.
Mm-hmm.
Oder bitte können Sie ein bisschen langsam sprechen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, can you speak a little bit slower? I think that will help them to build that confidence if the other person is really cooperative with that.
Okay. Which is one memorable moment from your teaching journey until now as a German language teacher?
I think there's not really one memorable moment, but especially when students are happy when they see the mark sheet that they've cleared the exam after months of preparation, after going through that stress, or especially I would say, when they are actually able to talk to someone and they understand. And then they come back to me and say, oh, today I actually spoke to a native and I understood and we could, have a conversation. So I think that's something that really makes me happy.
So we are more or less at the end of this session. Before we close this, I have a few final questions for you.
Yes.
So if someone who is watching this video wants to follow your work or join your classes, how can they contact you? Where can they reach you?
So basically, I have an Insta page. We can put the handle below.
Yes.
That's German with Shri. And we can also you can reach me on the following number, which can also be given below. And yes, basically you can contact me through WhatsApp or Instagram, and I'll be happy to share some of our student reviews, some of our student results till date.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, the link will be in the description, and also you can look out for the Instagram handle in the description.
Yeah.
What is next for you in life as a German language teacher? Is there some ideas that you want to try out or have planned already?
Not really anything in plan as such. I mean, I just love what I do. Main thing why I got into the teaching profession was mainly so that I could pass on my knowledge to the next generations, right? Whatever tips I have, or to make mainly German easier for people, the journey of people integrating here to make it easier, that would be my long-term goal always.
Okay. Yeah, that's really nice that you want to teach this out of love for the language, passion for the language. And I think this actually helps the students, right? It's not just for the sake of students just passing. More than that,
correct.
This is something that is very meaningful. If you have to give one advice or say something to an expat who is coming newly to Germany, what would it be?
I would say, just come with an open mind. Just come with basically with the mindset that I am going to learn the language in order to integrate, not out of compulsion because I have to do it. Only then, Germany would feel like home.
Yes, I totally agree with this that language solves a lot of problem in Germany, and it does take time, but the happiness that you get after few years, right? Like you can see it. So to all the viewers who have watched this video until this point, I am sure you would have gone through this journey or will be going through this journey, but have fun while learning German. And in case you are looking for a teacher, you know where to look. So thank you, Shreema, for joining this podcast and sharing your experiences. It means a lot because it's always we get to hear from students what they think, but getting to hear it from you who have taught this language since 7-8 years now. I think it's really valuable for all the students. And
thank you so much for having me again.